Okay, so to solve this problem, I've got a problem with exponents in it, but I can see that I have the base of all of my exponents is e. So it would be really nice if I could have e to something on both sides so that I could just ignore the e's. So let's do a little bit of simplifying here. I have multiplying a fraction times e to the 11x. Let's just put the e to the 11x over 1. So now I can multiply these two fractions together. Numerator times numerator is the new numerator. So e to the 11x times 1 will just be e to the 11x. And then denominator times denominator is the new denominator. 1 times e to the 30th is e to the 30th. And that all still equals e to the x squared. Okay, now on the right-hand side, my base is the same, e to the 11x over e to the 30th. And so I can use my exponent rules and simply subtract those exponents. So this will simplify into e to the 11x minus 30. And that equals e raised to the x squared power. Now I have e on both sides as the base of the exponent, so I can just ignore those e's because equals means the same as. You want the left to be the same as the right? Well, that base is already the same. So now we can just set those exponents equal. We'll set x squared equal to 11x minus 30. Okay, so this gets us to a quadratic that we can now solve. So when solving quadratics, we want to get 0 on one side, everything else on the other. So we have x squared. We'll subtract the 11x to the other side and add 30 to both sides. So now our quadratic is equal to 0. So now we can factor, or we could put it into the graphing calculator, or use the quadratic formula. Okay, so if you think what times what is x squared, we would have x times x. Okay, now I'm going to open it up. Okay, so if we think of the factors of 30, 5 times 6 would equal 30, but 5 plus 6 equals 11. Now, we need a negative 11 here, so we'll put in two negative signs because negative 5 times negative 6 would be positive 30, but negative 5 plus negative 6 is negative 11. Okay, let's double check that we factored it right. X times x is x squared, so that checks out. X times negative 6 is negative 6x. Minus 5x would be negative 11x, so that checks out. And then negative 5 times negative 6 is positive 30. So we know we factored it right. Now, if your directions were just to factor this quadratic, you could stop. So read your directions carefully. Factor is just getting it down into this binomial times the binomial. That we are supposed to go farther than that. We're supposed to solve. So we need to set x minus 5 is equal to 0, and we need to set x minus 6 is equal to 0. And then adding 5 to both sides and adding 6 to both sides gives us our solutions of x is equal to 5 or x is equal to 6. You can see on the graphing calculator x equals 5 and x equals 6.